So, I guess to start off, welcome, hello. Hope everybody's well. Hope everybody is safe from harm in this COVID-19 epidemic. We decided to step out and shoot some pictures today because it's supposed to have a nice sunset, and I wanted to get out before they shut the whole city down, which might happen. It might be our last chance to actually get a sunset. It might be the last sunset I ever experienced in my life. You never know. COVID-19's crazy. I'm gonna strap the GoPro to my face, to my head, and walk around and see if this will be a cool vantage point to see how empty the city is.
Yo, what's up everyone? Miguel Rivera here. Thanks for checking out the video, hanging out with me on this beautiful evening. I wanted to step out and take some pictures because I don't know if the city of Louisville will shut down today, tomorrow, if it's inevitable at this point. I'm just not sure. Luckily the weather is beautiful, which makes this whole situation even more crazy because on a pretty day like this, nobody was outside, which posed some challenges with my photography. But I turned back around on Main Street here and saw a sign. Decided to try and take a picture of it because I figured why not? This would be a perfect first shot of the day. As you can see in the bottom, there's like a little orange squiggly line right next to that sign. That's actually metal. I believe it's like a metal piece of artwork. It says Louisville across it. So I try to line up some sort of composition with that and then the actual sign that said help stop the spread of COVID-19. Wasn't bad for the first photo of the day, but it kind of, oh yeah, there's Malo putting his head in a hole. Silly puppy. Tried to snap a picture of him, couldn't. Luckily there were some more people that walked up with their puppies, and I aimed my camera towards the sunlight to try to get a little bit of a flare in there. So yeah, that's the mission right now. I wanted to step out and take some pictures of the city in its state that it's in, and I'm already tell you it was pretty dead, especially for, like I said, a busy part of town. But that did pose some challenges with the way I like to photograph. I like to find people and things going on and shape things around a subject, but it wasn't bad. I liked the emptiness of some of the photos that I took as well, that I'll show you later on once we get to them. Main Street completely empty. But yeah, this whole epidemic is crazy to kind of go through everything. I hope if you're watching this that you and your family are safe. So I'm checking the time, 7:16. We have about 45 minutes until sunset, and I do have a final spot that I want to hit before I call it a day. I wanted to get a picture from the bridge of the skyline with a little bit of sunset. So that's the goal. We stopped here because Nicole thought this was a cute picture for Malo. So no stopping anytime. What a badass. I think I mentioned this earlier, but some of the cons that I faced, if I were to put a pro and con list together, the pros were, obviously it was a pretty day out. The streets weren't busy, so I could freely move around on the roads without worrying about vehicles or anything. But the cons, I think the cons outweighed this situation. Real quick, this was an interesting little composition. I don't know why I liked this spot so much, but there was a car there with a little bit of, I just liked the lines. I don't know, it was a cool little spot. The cons of this whole thing were the city was pretty inactive, and going out shooting street photography, I like shooting I like shooting people. I like having subjects in the picture, so I had a little bit of challenge, but at this point I don't know if I have a style necessarily. I think I like symmetry, I like leading lines, I like beautiful compositions, I like things that just move your eye around a picture. And then sometimes it's just a simple picture, a simple photo. You know, things are blossoming here. Nice segue. Things are blossoming in Louisville. Luckily for me, we did have a nice sunset. You can see the beautiful golden light hitting some of these buildings. Everything looks pretty when you have just gorgeous light hitting it. So I was trying to catch this guy walking across the building. You can kind of see him there. He beat me. He's walking so slow and he still beat me. I was trying to get him framed up, but I wasn't fast enough, so I just decided to snap this quick one off. At this point, I realized that Milo was scared and barking at this giant horse, so I got a couple pictures of him looking cute. Down the street, there was a little bit of light hitting this building with the clock on it, so I walked into the middle of the road and got a nice landscape shot of that building as well. So sun's starting to set, as you can see, golden hours upon us. Things are starting to look really pretty. We walk back towards Main Street because we kind of circled the block. And right in front of me is the Kentucky Performance Center. Fun fact, I shot a picture of KY Engineering in front of this building because he was on the billboard. He's a mix engineer. He's worked with like Lil Wayne and Drake and 2 Chainz and a bunch of other artists. Small plug, but I got some cool pictures of him. I'll probably post those here. He's actually from Lexington, Kentucky, which is why he was featured on this billboard. Continuing the journey towards 2nd Street Bridge, which is the final destination of my photography walk for the day. Up to my left is the Galt House, which I believe is the only hotel that the city has on the river. It's a pretty iconic hotel. I didn't take any pictures of it, I just stared at it. It's nice, but across the street, you'll see in a moment that there are rings across the street. And I always try to snap an interesting picture here. Caught a guy on a bicycle as he just passed my frame. So at this point of the walk, I'm pretty happy with the photos I'm getting. Things are starting to flow and groove. I keep turning around because the sun is behind me, and I notice this cool frame here. I really like this picture. I think it has a good sense of Louisville, obviously with the bourbon sign, but the Aegon building in the back, which is the one with the dome on it, the PNC building, the little crosswalk on the bottom, and then a bit of the historic buildings downtown. I do like this picture a lot. Pretty happy with it. So it's getting to be that time. Check my phone again and it's 7:45, so we have about 15 minutes or so until sunset, and we are very close to the final destination. 2nd Street Bridge is actually right next to the Yum Center, which is to my left. Up here to the right, I don't know what it was about the building. I thought it had some pretty cool reflections and it was symmetrical. Caught a dude passing the frame on a bicycle. And then I stood out to the left a little more and caught the adjacent street. The BBC sign had a nice little composition to it, so snapped that photo off. There's the Yum Center. I didn't try to take any pictures of it. I've photographed it in the past, and I didn't want to waste too much time because I would have hunted for a while. It's pretty crazy seeing this area or this part of town as empty as it is during this time of day, during this time of year, especially with basketball playing and everything. This section of town is always popping. There's always people out. There's always traffic. So it's pretty free. It was nice to just get to where I was going. I was on a mission. Switch my lenses out. I think I switched to, the wide angle. So I should probably mention the lenses I'm using. So I switched to the 16 to 35. I think that's it's the f4. So I'm using the Sony a7 III, and that photo was taken with the 16 to 35 f4. I was so close to the building, the Yum Center. I needed something wide. I'm pretty sure I stuck with that lens for the duration of the video. And then the lens that I had on prior to this one was the Tamron 28 to 75 f2.8. So at this point, I'm just getting some reflections. I'm getting the building, trying to line up the roads, trying to make something creative and cool out of it. I continued to walk further and further down the bridge because I would turn around, like what I see, snap a few pictures, and then go a little further down because I would want a little more bridge or a little more of the cityscape. So what I ended up having to do, I think 16 was too wide and 35 was a little too tight. I'll end up showing the idea that I had, but basically I wanted part of the bridge in the frame and I wanted a bit more of the cityscape in the frame, so I used a little bit of compression around the 24 millimeter area to bring some of that city up, and then a little bit of that bridge came back in the photo. So the sweet spot, like I said, was around that 24 to 28 mark. I was daring and put my hand through the rail, kind of freaked me out, so I had to tie my strap around my hand. But I was trying to get some interesting shots. At this point, the sky is looking gorgeous. You can see the blue, the orange from the sunset, a little bit of magenta in the background. It's looking so pretty. So I continue to walk back and set my settings on my camera, snapped a few pictures, and I was really, really happy with what I got. So overall, I would say these were my favorite photos of the day, because I wanted one in landscape and then the other in portrait, basically one for Instagram and then one as a print. But I ended up shooting both of these photos in landscape orientation and just cropped it in post afterwards. So I think the focal range was typically about 24 to 35. And like I said, it was mainly to bring the compression up a little bit so you can get more of the city. I also snapped a few pictures after I turned the GoPro off on the way back to the car. So here's a few of those as well. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, mentally, physically, do what you need to do. Wishing nothing but the best, and we'll see you soon.